Okay, I'm kind of just gonna like. Actually, wait. Okay, we're gonna full send this. First, let me get something. It's gonna be scuffed because the intro. And explain in a minute. Should I leave this? Finish it. Works. Full send it. Love it. Hold on me. So far, so good. Am I right? We. All right. So, welcome to the first podcast. I am with the horror. It's really only gonna be like an introductory podcast. I was gonna do it with someone else. It was a double host. However, plans have changed. But I'm your host, Ola Horror. My first podcast. I want to do like weekly podcasts, and they're mostly just gonna be random live streams that are just gonna be random topics for said week on horror or whatever. And basically, before we get started, I was just gonna mention that there's a lot kind of happening right now. I did say in a video, and you'll probably hear it there too. But my PC is actually down right now because of power supply or overheating issue. So I have to fix that, and I have wonderful friends that are actually helping me out with that. Um, Thankfully, because it's just kind of hard right now how life is going. So they're extremely generous, and I couldn't have asked for better friends. But until then, kind of editing on my Mac. So this is gonna be scuffed because I'm not used to, first of all, editing on my Mac. Second of all, not used to the operating system itself. Um, and I was gonna do a podcast with my friend tonight. One of my friends that's actually helping me, and he's gonna be on a couple different podcasts, more prominent on this channel than anything. But it ended up kind of he might in the future. It's not a no, but um, pretty much. I mean, like it was supposed to be like that, but it ended up just falling through because the way Mac works, and you can't really desktop share, I guess, like audio wise, so that kind of sucks. So I can't have any music on in the background. Pretty much, that's what's nothing on my desktop I can record. Not even like a recording of like my friend's voice, which I was gonna see if he could stream, but I didn't want him to do that. So I'm just gonna solo this one because I've been excited to do this. Because man, podcasting is such a fun thing. I did it in the past with a friend before, and I just really enjoy it. I guess because I can get my thoughts out. It's just dependent on the topic and shit, you know. I just really enjoy it. So I'm trying to get back into it. Really just I mean podcasting is kind of like my streams in general when I used to stream on Twitch. Even though I do sometimes still, but you know, I was if my PC wasn't broken down, but um yeah, I always liked just ranting and rambling this and that about a certain topic. So podcasting is always going to be one of my favorite things. I would love to like that for a living. Obviously, other than doing a YouTube channel with horror, it'd be nice to either podcasts or vacation vlogs or even do like radio host shit because that's like kind of similar. So it's like it's around the same ballpark. So I would love to do that actually. I mean, I don't know what anyone else thinks, but I've been told I've been a likable person, but I don't know if that's just friends just saying that just to say it or all right. So it's gonna be broken down. I have a few questions that I was gonna bounce off my friend, but now I'm kind of bouncing off myself. So we'll see where this goes. I'm just kind of a tangent, so let's hope I don't go on too many. But kind of decent. I am a tangent. Okay, so let's start off with who I am. My name is Matt, otherwise known as Oh the Horror, of a Shed channel, and I am obviously a horror content creator for now. And I don't know, obviously that's not the only thing I like. No. If I had to go into like what I do like out of horror, I guess I don't. I guess that's a different question. Point is, I like other things than horror too, right? I'm actually, funny enough, a big musical person. I love musicals. La La Land's one of my favorites, if not my favorite. Love Annie, Sound of Music, things like that. Um, I don't know. I bounce around a lot. I'm like all over the place. It's I love musicals. I love dramas. I love horror, obviously. Action. I like as well. It's the same with my music taste. I kind of just hop around 7,000 different things. It's really dependent on the mood I'm in. I did watch a recent horror movie tonight though. Totally killer. Pretty good. I'll have to talk about that someday. But no, I'm into like anything to be except for movies in which dogs die. But I'm pretty sure that's like a very common thing to hear. Um, yeah, this is gonna be more or less an introduction to not only me, it's gonna be an introduction to my friend as well, but mostly an introduction to who I am so that we can understand me more and understand that I do like other things than horror, surprisingly. Obviously, horror is a main portion of it, but I do enjoy other things. I mean, if you look at my movie list that I own and things I've watched, three-fourths of it is horror, or like half to three-fourths, but a lot of other stuff is on there too. Um, because I don't know, I have a varied taste, I guess, in everything. Games, movies, music. Anyways, so I am also a 24-year-old male. I don't know why I'm going into it like I'm about to be fucking locked. You know, like the whole like prisoner shit of like cop thing, like, oh, he's a 24-year-old male suspect. Um, I mean, some things I say could probably get me locked up or think, but I can go into that. Um, I don't know. I just try to find something I want to do in life right now, and I've obviously been around content creation for 10 years, maybe. Streamed on Twitch for a bit, for like a good 8 years of my life. Um, I'm a very kind of, I don't know, expressive person, I guess, when it comes to things. I've always been an expressive person. I don't know. Um yeah, I don't know, it's kind of hard cuz I don't really have a direction in life right now, which is why I'm kind of like in the midst of finding myself. I do know that I love film. I've loved film since I was like 18, 19 probably. I know it's like why 18, 19 specifically. I think it's mainly because I just I'm not the biggest person on knowing myself. Never really knew myself in school. I was going through school. I never really knew what I cared for, or liked, or enjoyed, really, that I would love to do. Never really thought about it, I guess. Never really cared to think about it. I just thought about getting through school. But if because my interests change a lot. But one that hasn't really changed with since I was 18 or 19 is film. I mean, I've definitely had like droughts of watching films. You know, I haven't went through seasons of not watching anything. Probably due to depression, but I'm also heavily anxious. So there you go. I'm up already, but I just don't care what people know about me. I know that's obviously like bad sometimes, but I really don't care. Like my life is my life. You want to know me? I'll tell you. No, you ask, I'll tell you. Tell ya. Tell them. Tell everyone. I don't. I could go on a TED talk, but that's kind of just story of my life, I guess. I don't know. I just really know myself growing up. Kind of grew up in a not the greatest household, so don't struggle to know myself. So 18, 19, I got into films. I don't even know what got me into films. I think it was like I don't want to say Riverdale because that's weird because that's a show, but I enjoyed the CW shows for a while. Supergirl, DC Legends Tomorrow, the shows, Stargirl. I even enjoyed like Riverdale and stuff. As weird as it sounds, I think I liked more of the behind the scenes because a lot of times whenever you watch them, they seemed really like But anyway, like I stopped watching after that whole Jughead plot of the new school stuff. I kind of just stopped watching. But I digress. I enjoyed that show for a while. I like the themes about it, I guess. But yeah, that's kind of me. I have more to me. I'm not gonna go on like a 50-minute rant about who I am. That's a little bit to get to know me. Yeah, I've been doing content creation for a while. I haven't really done YouTube, which I do. Yeah, now you know some of my favorite things. Yes, different genres I like. Movies, I don't really speak about my favorite movies. It's hard for me to make lists of favorite movies, so I might movie list, but just remember it's always interchangeable. Um, with me personally, it's hard for me to make lists of what I like. It's either I like it or I don't like it. There's no, I like this more than this. I can say La La Land's probably my favorite musical because I just really enjoy it. I can go back to watch it over and over, but who knows if something will take that one day, who knows. It's why I don't really make lists because I enjoy things. So like if I were to measure up it's just I can't really dissect two of my favorite things. So if I really like Scream or It or whatever, and I try to compare the two, or I try to be like, okay, which one do I like more? I might say It just because, but I don't know. I just kind of go back and forth between like phases, I guess, of things. Like I like It, then I'll have a phase of a different movie, and then I'll have a phase of a different movie, and then I'll have a phase of a different movie. So or show or music or fucking game, it doesn't matter. Go through phases. That's just me. I'm a phase guy. It's all a phase, mom. Oh, there are things that stick with me, like metal music. I love still, and horror, obviously. I do have my likes. It's just depends. Okay. Next one, favorite horror films. I kind of delved into this literally just a second ago. I did mention two of them. It, love the It series. Um, specifically 2018 and okay, but yeah, 2017, 2018, and the 2019 one. Love those. Um, I do like the original. It's just something I need to watch in a couple different sittings. Sometimes it depends how I feel the day. Um, another big favorite movie is Scream. All the Screams, love Scream. Again, I can't really tell a favorite of mine, like my favorite. It's hard, I'm telling you. I want to say Scream 1 or Scream 6. I really love Scream 6. It was the first movie that I think I just hold it so highly because it was the first movie that I went to theaters. Like, I don't know, like, what I mean by this is, like, I went to the theaters to see Scream 6 with a friend. I kind of false sent it, obviously, due to my anxiety. It was hard for me to go back to movie theaters because maybe not just loud noises, but it was just, I think it's just having no way out. It's like almost feeling trapped that I'm watching a movie almost. So if I have a panic attack, it's like, I used to think, oh man, I want to go home so badly. But obviously, I kind of couldn't because I was obviously driven by a friend at the time. So, um, kind of hesitant to go. But it was so much fun. I'm so glad I did. I got a cup, AMC cups, but it's still worth it. I still use it. So worth it. I'm so glad I went. And then later that month, I saw Evil Dead Rise. Oh, Evil Dead Rise is another one of my favorite horror movies. Love it. I've actually seen that movie more than Scream 6. I thought the pacing was so well done. I did a review on it, but that's how I feel. Yeah, I think the last movie before that I saw in theaters was Moana. It was, when did that, dude? That shit's almost 10 years old too. That's crazy. It was in like 2016. What? We're in 2024? No, 2020. What? I'm waking up from a nap, so don't yell at me for not knowing the year. It's 2023. So it's weird how it's almost a decade old. I went away from my mic for a second, but so yeah, my favorite horror movies probably include It and Scream. Talked about this. Um, Halloween 2018 trilogy. I love so much. It's weird because like I know a lot of people just don't like the trilogy. I have a soft heart for it. I don't know. I just have a love for it. I just really liked how they did it. I don't really like the 4 through 6 as much. I think they're watchable. I just thought 4 and 5 were really boring. Mainly 5. I thought 4 was tolerable. 5 was kind of. 6 I actually haven't seen in a while, but I do enjoy 2018 Ends the most. I know it's a very hot take. I know not a lot of people like to end, but I have a reason for why I enjoy it. I have a video coming out someday. Never can finish Halloween 1 that I'm starting of Halloween 1. I have other favorite horror movies too. Like The Exorcist is pretty good. It's not my favorite, but I think it's pretty good. My brain is like soft booting. Evil Dead. Love Evil Dead movies. Saw I've been rewatching recently. It's okay. It's not my favorite, but it's good. It's watch. It's fun to watch. Although I know a bunch of Saw from one TikTok social media person. I always see their Saw videos and breakdowns of traps and stories. So I pretty much know all the story just from. And I'm like, that works. So those are pretty much my favorite horror movies. I feel like I'm forgetting one, but you know what? It's fine. I guess why I'm doing this channel is another question I kind of want to bring up. I I just like being able to do stuff with horror, I guess, in general, because I'm an avid horror person. I mean, all my friends know that I love horror. I mean, it's mainly the thing I watch, and it's fun to talk about, especially finding a community of those that enjoy it as well. So, um, also because it's really nice to get my so weird thoughts and opinions out there. I don't know if that's the wording I want to use. That's what my brain thought of. It's nice being able to chat with people about things and understand why. I guess just it's almost like debating, I guess, but being able to bring a topic up and then just having their thoughts and opinions, having someone else. That's pretty much just debating, but I like seeing different views on things, I guess. And horror has been with me since I was kind of like a child. Um, it's been with me since I was like, I want to say, okay, like realistically, 10 or 12. Or like, but the earliest like memory of horror was like when I was 5 or 6. I was watching the remake of Prom Night, you know, when the girl falls down the staircase or whatever, and she goes down the basement with all the shit happening, flashing lights and stuff. That's what I remember. That scared the shit out of me when I was younger. Oh no, and also that part of Prom Night with the girl under, you know, the first girl that she hides under the bed, and the fucking, what is it? The guy, the teacher ends up killing her mother and father and brother while she's just hiding under a bed. Terrifying. And I know obviously it's like such a shitty remake. I guess there are fans out there that enjoy those. It's just considered a shit remake. But I will say that that was a really terrifying thing for a young child to watch. Same with The Ring. The Ring was terrifying when I was younger. I don't know. It's just I wasn't scared of too much. Funny enough, even though have high anxiety, like nothing really scared me as a child besides like a select few things. Again, like Prom Night, I guess. Select this, The Ring, maybe Nightmare on Elm Street, maybe, and Halloween. Halloween scared me as a child. I'll explain why, but Halloween 1 scared the shit out of me. I think because Prom Night, Halloween 1, not The Ring. We'll get into The Ring in a minute. Those are differences, and Nightmare on Elm Street. We'll get into that in a minute. I think realistic horror scares me more than anything. I'll explain why Halloween 1 is realistic horror, even though I see him more natural. I'm not going to get into coming up on my channel soon, anyways. Of why Michael Myers is supernatural in Halloween 1. I have so much fucking shit to say about that because it is hit you in the face true, but at the same time I understand why people think he isn't. But I think the reason why something like The Strangers, Prom Night, shit like that scares me, and Halloween 1's because I think it's definitely possible for that to happen, right? The Strangers is all about the reason why they kill is because they moved in, you know, like that's literally the reason. There's no like other reason, and it's scary because that could actually happen, right? You don't know what neighborhood you're moving to, if it's a good neighborhood, if there's people that are wanting to kill you. Example would be The Strangers. Um, Scream didn't really scare me. Probably because I know like cloning phones. Like no high schooler knows how to do that. Unless you're like just fucking like Einstein at that point. Like, cause you're a young kid still, you know. Yes, you could technically frame it, but it would definitely be harder. But back to the topic at hand, when it came to Halloween 1, I mean, someone could, maybe not easily, but someone could break out of a mental asylum. It's happened before. People have broken out of prisons. Like, why couldn't it happen again, you know? And he just terrorizes a street. Oh, well, a town. A street town. But, you know? Like, that, I think I just, also the mask, too. And there was one scene, I think it was Halloween 4, Halloween 2. No, there was one from Halloween 2 where Laurie was just kind of like straggling through the hospital. Michael Myers through the lightning is terrifying. On top of the fact of Halloween 4, I think it was, or 5. I think it was 4. No, it definitely was, because 5 was um whenever he's next to the bed and he just raises up, like that's horrifying. Again, it's the whole like realistic horror scares me more than anything because it's just like, cause that's possible, you know. And I just knew that a lot of things were fake. Okay, now let's get into the Ring and Nightmare on Elm Street. I'll talk about that real quick. So with the Ring, I don't know. I guess it was just the whole you'll get a call saying like what 7 days. That was terrifying. Like you didn't really know if it existed until like the day of, pretty much. Um, but Nightmare on Elm Street, I think it was just because like obviously yes, it's fake, but it's the whole dream shit. Like again, you don't know unless you dream of it. And to be honest, I mean, let's say you just watch a Nightmare on Elm Street, bro. If you dream of Freddy, bro, that would scare the shit out of me getting up. I would never sleep again or want to sleep again. Yeah, shit like it and stuff like that. Most horror movies don't really kind of get to me. Again, it's a whole like I know they're fake, but when it comes to realism and realist, like so what can be real, is what scares me. I think that's why I'm not the biggest fan of paranormal movies. Not saying paranormal doesn't exist, but I haven't really ran into anything. I do believe paranormal exists. It's just I'm not in a place where paranormal issues could really happen. Um, a good example would be a Conjuring verse, right? Like the Conjuring house is just notably just haunted and demonic. But I don't really live in those type of areas, you know. I don't really, so there's not much to be scared of. So that's pretty much like what scares me. But that was something I had to get into earlier because that was a actually question that was important that I was gonna answer. I just like talking to people and getting to know people too. So understanding that there's a bunch of other people that love horror out there and things like that is just why I was. Why is it? What are my goals? Why are what? I just came up with random questions the other day, and that's one of them. Okay, what are my goals? Maybe goals this channel. I would love to find like-minded horror people, even not even just like-minded. You know, you could don't know why you'd be under here watching shit if you don't like horror, but if you don't like horror, I mean, perfectly okay, right? I would love to just get to know people. That's kind of like a goal of mine is to form like a community. And on top of that, just get to know people, get to know what their likes and stuff and all that. I don't know. I just it's that's my like thing that I find a lot of fun in is like getting to know other people's points of view. It's just going off of horror for a second. It's gonna be a small tangent, just letting you know. But that like when I hung with my friends, and stuff, you know, I have friends with different views. That's okay. But I always liked pushing people, and I like pushing people for why they believe the things they do, why they like talking about the things they do. More deeper shit than that, you know, like why, like religion, for instance. I like talking about that sometimes with friends. Just getting to know why they like it or why they chose that or why they believe in that. Because I think you get to know someone on a deeper level whenever you get to talk about their deeper things inside of them, things that mean a lot to them. Because I don't really have a lot of things that mean a lot to me, but finding something that means a lot to someone else, I'm willing to talk about it. And it's fun getting to know people on a deeper level. Because I always say surface level is like putting a dent in something while you're not actually getting to know a person without knowing them on a deeper level. And that's exactly why I like doing deep talks instead of surface level. That was a small tangent, but my goal is just to understand people, just to give my insight on my thoughts on things and new people and things and have fun, I guess. I don't know. That's kind of like so basic. I know. Very basic. Okay. I think one is why I enjoy horror. Boy. Bear with me. It's not that I don't have an answer. It's just it's gonna take me a second because like I don't even know. I just really enjoy horror. I think it's just because I don't think it's due to anxiety. I think it's due to like it's such a different genre compared to like a lot of the movie genres we have. Like, you know, a lot of things interconnect, right? Like, sure, you can have horror in different medias, but different levels of medias too. But a lot of times with comedies, you do have a bit of drama in there. With dramas, you have a bit of comedy in there. With horror, you have a bit of drama. With horror, you have a bit of comedy. With horror, you have some action. And same with action. Action, you have comedy. Action, you have drama. You can have horror, sure. You can like sneak it in there. It's just I think with horror purely, like if you're going slasher or whatever, I think it's just so different because when you do an action movie with horror, yes, you can have horrific deaths and things, but you don't really see that a lot. But with horror, that's pretty much it tries to bend the limits of what you can do. You know, a good example would be like Midsommar, and even like psychological horror too. But like Midsommar is a good example, or even Evil Dead Rise and like shock value sometimes. Um, they try to bend the rules as much as they can to put as much shit much as they can on screen. And I think I enjoy that because it's like it tends to break the norms of what we usually see on camera. You know, we're used to seeing like how do I explain this? We're used to seeing like maybe someone else can like sum it up better, but we're used to seeing more I want to say lighthearted because there's obviously dark shit in every movie in every genre, but horror kind of like takes that and just escalates to like a 10 or 100. It literally pries on your fears. So there's a fear out there. There's probably a horror movie about it. So it's actually one thing I want to do is go into a film course for college and do a lot of horror there if I can. If I can. Because obviously it depends on coursework. But if I have a chance to do horror, I probably will. But that's kind of why I enjoy horror is because it just so different compared to the rest. And I don't want to say it's so nice. It's so creative too, I guess. That's one thing I thought the other day. It's super creative. Like horror has some of the most creative like it also has some of the most like predictable ones, but there's a lot of creative movies. Horror. There's so many ways you could do things like deaths and everything, and what you can do with the killers and things like that, or even if it's not a killer, what you do with the ghosts or whatever the fuck you want to do. There's so much you can do with horror, and I think that's really cool. And there's so many ways to. Okay, this is gonna sound odd, so just bear with me. And FBI, I promise I'm a good child. I went to church when I was younger, true story. But there's so many different ways that people or that you can show a body getting destroyed. I guess I don't want to put that in like mutilation terms, so that's fucked up. But you get the point. Obviously, I'm not the biggest fan of like shock horror, or, like gore fests and stuff. Not the biggest fan of that. Like Terrifier, but I do think it's I think it's cool how creative you can be with that though. I don't know what my favorite subgenre of horror would be. I don't know if it'd be slasher, because slasher I watch quite a bit, or found footage. Love found footage. Get him rank was me. Oh, that's just popped in my head, but oh yeah. So here's this one. When did I get into horror? I technically answered it already. Around like 12, I started watching Friday the 13th. Where did my tangents go? Hello? I remember talking about prom night and then getting into Friday. No, I think I jumped. I'm so sorry. I jumped everywhere. Let me just reel it back. Alright, when did I get into horror? Prom night. When I was like 5 technically, but 10 or 11 or 12 with Friday the 13th. I snuck it through Netflix. Watched it. And then Scream, I want to say, but... Or was it It? I can never remember if it was It before Friday the 13th or Friday the 13th before It. It was one of the two. But I enjoyed the whole horror stuff. So that's kind of when I got into horror. It was very young, but if you want to say like when did I don't know, because horror's been around me my whole life pretty much. My life was a horror. No, but honestly, I've had horror around me my whole life, like the genre, obviously, and life events, but mostly genre. I've watched. I mean, I wasn't like super into movies when I was younger. When I was like 13, 14, I was mostly into games. Even then, I played like Outlast, things like that. But never cared for like films as much when I was younger. And if I did, I was either A, watching a musical, because whenever I was going to my grandparents' place, and my mom loves musicals, or Hallmark movies. Honestly, I love Hallmark movies. That's very random, but yeah, I wasn't really watching horror as much. I definitely did when I was younger. I watched Scream, Friday the 13th, things like that. When it was on AMC Fear Fest, I put it on, but I never really cared for films as much as I do now. But I still loved horror as a child for some reason. I think it's because, honestly, this is going to be a weird way of saying this, but I think it's because people don't really particularly enjoy horror that I enjoy it. And plus, it goes, again, like I said, it like stretches like the boundaries of what can be done. So I enjoy that too. It's just a whole like back, I don't know, it's a whole weird, weird, um, weird thing. But yeah, I just couldn't imagine my life without horror. It's like the one, thank God I got into it too, because it's one of the things that I'll tell you a story time at the end, but um, it's one of the only genres and things that I've like grew up with that I really still love to death. And I honestly, if I didn't get into horror, I actually don't know where I'd be. I know it's the most like cliche thing you could hear. Oh, if I didn't start playing piano, I don't know where I'd be. But it's kind of true. Like, of course, this isn't my job. I would like, I would hopefully like it to be one day, but without horror, I just don't know where I'd be because it's like I don't know what I'd be talking about. You know, like yes, I played games when I was younger, and I played a lot of games, but that wasn't the only thing I kind of I don't know. I just don't really play as many games anymore. But with horror, I think I just think of it as one big thing in my personality, and I think other people think the same about me too. As I enjoy horror, I don't know where I'd be without it. Life would definitely be less interesting without it. Okay, so I'm gonna make up some mock-up questions as we go because I only have one question left and we've been live for like 40 minutes. 35, 33, which isn't necessarily bad. That's never a bad thing, but I'll just. This is the first podcast. I'm trying to get to doing 50 minutes an hour, maybe 40 minutes if did, but. Alright, interesting horror concept. Alright, so this is one I came up with last second that I was gonna bounce off my friend. But an interesting horror concept that I loved, but I didn't really they didn't really rate well. I guess I like the concept, but not the execution. Definitely The Purge, which kind of sucks. The Purge movies were not great, but the concept was super cool. I loved the concept of that crime is legal for 12 hours. There's so much you could do with that, and it just didn't feel. It just didn't. I don't know. This wasn't a great movie. I know people can agree. It's just mainly like I think the first one was okay, but they could have done so much more with it. But they ended up just dropping the ball and just doing a relative normal horror movie. They could have easily stretched the boundaries, but they didn't. There's so much you could do with it, and they kind of fumbled it. And that sucks. But I thought, I guess Purge One was okay. Man, that's such a cool concept, though. Man, every time I think about The Purge, I always think about how such a cool concept it is. Man, 12 hours with free crime, like anything you do is free. Pretty much, like you won't get arrested or anything. Could have done so much with that. Holy shit. I think another horror movie concept that they could have done well, but they executed poorly. I don't want to bring up the Conjuring verse because I do have a hot take on the Conjuring verse, and I know the Conjuring one did so well, but I completely hated that movie. And I'm not gonna blame it on big companies or anything, but it felt very big company esque. That makes sense. Like it felt very predictable. You know, it felt like they were just trying to get a horror movie out that'll scare people. So like, all right, let's just do the common tropes and all this, and use the most jump scares you can. Like it just, or did it? It felt very big company. Like I said, it felt very big. I don't even know how to put it out. How else to put it? Just felt like, all right, let's dip our feet into horror. All right, do the most predictable shit. I mean, I guess it worked. Everyone was scared of it, I guess, but it just wasn't as scary as what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was actually very boring, to be honest. Just from how predictable it was. I mean, I watched The Conjuring. I watched Conjuring 3. I watched Annabelle. I watched you name it. And this is kind of where I'm gonna talk about what I have on a video I'm talking about. And actually, I don't even know if it's still in the script or something for Halloween 1, but one thing I didn't enjoy was how long, or is, I guess one thing I don't enjoy is how long horror movies can be nowadays. For instance, I think the golden rule for horror movies should be an hour 30 to maybe 2 hours if you're stretching it. I'd say 2 hours is like the fine line of like stop. Like that's it. Because The Conjuring kind of proves where I'm coming from with this. And I know some people are like, oh my god, The Conjuring is fantastic, blah blah blah. I'd have to agree to disagree. Or disagree to agree. Whatever it is. But point is, I didn't enjoy The Conjuring. Did not. I thought it was predictable. I thought the movie was way too long for what it was. Every time I watch a Conjuring movie, Annabelle, Conjuring, it feels like it drags on so much. Like it does not go great those 2 hours. I just kind of get bored like halfway through. And yes, you could technically say I get bored easily, sure, but with horror movies and films, I tend to watch them all the way through. But with The Conjuring and things like that, I can't, man. I cannot. I can't, bro. That sucks, but those that do enjoy it, I'm glad you guys enjoy it. I am actually curious on why you guys enjoy it. Conjuring just didn't do well for me. That's okay. We can all have our likes and dislikes and differences. Because we're all human. We have different tastes. Another horror movie that I mean, anyway, the Purge series, that was okay. I sometimes have hot takes on movies. Like, I'll be honest, I like Child's Play 3 the most. Like, think of hot take. I actually don't like any of the Nightmare on Elm Street. I'll have to watch them again, but Nightmare on Elm Street 1, I didn't really like there. Dude, you guys are gonna, like, get the pitchforks out. Creative idea. Just wasn't my cup of tea, I guess. My brain's, like, blanking right now, so that's fantastic. I wonder why, I don't know. I got you guys into horror. Got me into horror. Boundaries. I don't think I thought of that at the time. I just thought it was. I think it mainly at the time it was cool because it was like, it was the whole rated R thing of like when you're a child, you're watching a rated R movie that your parents don't want you watching, or even then, my mom. I remember my mom and my dad were scared. Like, no, my dad wasn't scared. My mom just like always like hated horror movies. She still hates the Halloween 1 theme, but she horror movies every time she watches one. She's like, I don't know how you can watch this shit. But I'm over here just like casually watching. I don't give a shit. I just enjoy it. I don't know. Because a lot of people dislike them, and I started watching them, and it made people like react. So it was funny to me. I watched Totally Killer the other or today actually. Really good. Talked about it earlier, but it's pretty good. Definitely felt like a Scream meets Back to the Future, which is actually a pretty good thing. It held up really well. The humor was actually really good in it. Well, I guess I was hoping this would be a question on something I'm doing on Twitter. It's like the whole like 31 questions of horror for every day or whatever. You know, like what is your favorite horror movie? What's your least favorite? What's your favorite trope in horror? Those type of things. I think I enjoyed or one of my most underrated horror movies of all time. I don't even know if it's considered underrated, but it's Tragedy Girls. Fucking love that movie. Such a fun movie to watch. I watched it this year and I watched it the years ago, but I really enjoy it. It's such a fun movie to watch. It's such an interesting concept too. Instead of giving you the or survivor side of it, you start getting the killer side. These two teen girls kidnap a killer and try to learn. Also, this mock-up of Oh the Horror actually kind of made myself. I fucked around in Photoshop, followed tutorial, fucked around, and actually it didn't take me too long, thankfully. But I'm surprised at how well it turned out. Not worse. Yeah, I don't know like what each week is for a podcast, but this week is technically the start of podcasts for this. So again, like I said, I'm dial said on my intro video, but I'm delving into different forms of I don't know. Point is, I'm delving into different like different pools. I guess let's put an analogy. I don't know. Different baskets. I guess I don't know. Eggs for different baskets. Because I'm doing videos. I'm doing gaming live streams. Times whenever fixed. I'm doing podcasts. Sometimes news videos. I kind of stopped because there was so much news happening at once that kind of like was overwhelming, and I had to like constantly making videos. I should just make shorts for that. I eventually want to do shorts. Figure out how to do that. Um, I need to start doing like breakdowns. I'm kind of doing reviews that you'll hear in the Halloween one. It's almost like a review slash retrospective. It's a mix. That's kind of my thing. I don't know. Whenever I review, I tend to go like the in depth. Sometimes I go a little bit more in depth than what reviews actually go, or where reviews go. So yeah. Um, I don't know what I gotta talk about. Honestly, could be the podcast. Honestly, not that I don't have anything else to say. It's more like I have more questions to bring up, and I'm trying to think of one that we could just go with. Because like a lot of this is just more introduction of like who I am, why I'm here, why I like horror. We talked about what I wanted to do with my life, I guess, just in the beginning. Like I would love to do something like this, a content creation job. But I'd honestly wouldn't mind being like a radio host or a editor or broadcaster or whatever. Something to do with media. Um, into a 9 to 5 job. I've talked about that. I could not do a 9 to 5 job. Like I need like flexible. But if a radio job was 9 to 5, it would honestly be a bit easier. I know it's a bunch of setup, but it'd just be because I'm used to streaming. So this is a lot. Honestly, it's a lot easier making videos to me. Because sometimes I want my video not to be perfect, but to be at least audible and at least have it sound professional a bit. So I'm not trying to be a perfectionist, but I can be very perfectionist. Sometimes I try to stop myself. But with live streaming, I just kind of go for it. I just don't give a shit. We talk about whatever we talk about, and I get into tangents wise. So one thing about me that everyone knows, I get into tangents. I can just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. Fun about me. Sometimes I talk too fast, though. A lot of times, but that's just not like so. Not like always a bad thing, but I wanted to make this podcast, this specific one. I wanted to make it about horror. Sure, 100%. Sure, 100%. I also wanted to make it general because it's the first podcast. You guys basically know nothing about me. All you know is the first video or whatever, the reviews. So, whatever in the reviews. You guys don't know specifically of me. I mean, you know of me, you don't know about me though. So that's why I'm going into general horror question or just horror questions, and then I'm going to general of things I like, or what do I do, or what do I enjoy, my age, things like that. Social security number, you know, it's for. um, yeah, that general question I brought up earlier of like, am I? Always loved watching vacation people. Like people go on vacations and get paid. That'd be so fucking sick. Could you imagine us taking a trip with your friends, recording a couple things, or taking photos, getting like fucking hundreds of thousands, okay, maybe not hundreds of thousands, but quite a bit of money just for traveling? Bro, that would be like the dream life, okay? Yes, I love horror. Yes, I love this and that, but dude, traveling for money would be so fucking crazy. I would love to travel the world eventually, which is one thing about me. I would love to travel the world, see as much as I can, take breaks in between, obviously, but I get like see everything I can. Right? Experience different cultures, you know. Those fucking better not be fucking dumbass bugs. That's all I know. I like to say I'm a chill guy, not chill in a way of like energy wise, of just like I talk so fucking much and I'm so energetic, which you'll get to know. But I'm chill in a way of like I'm good with anything. I don't give a shit what I do. I don't give a shit what I talk about. I don't give a shit what's happening or with what's happening. I'll just exist. Yes, I don't know. It helps with another person because I bounce off people. Kind of vibe, you know. Vibe. I'm just living the game of life as we all are, isn't that? That's right. We're all living the. So we're all exist. We're all. I don't know, bro. I'm like, it's just starting to become like super like bland. For those that have come this far, thank you, and those who finished, I guess thank you. But we're probably wrapping up here. I'm trying to see if I could get any other questions. I mean, I guess we can talk about school real quick. I mean, I went through school, and you know how you have your electives. I did engineering. Kind of simple, but it was. I actually had to change up my schooling life a bit in high school. At the end of high school, I had to change up, which I don't really talk about. That's one thing I'm kind of private about because I don't. I guess it shouldn't matter, but I just don't really like talking about it. But I had to change up my high school. Where I went, I stopped going in 11th, no, 12th grade. Started 12th grade, I stopped going, and I did online school. The first time I did online school, I really just being me and I games and shit as this stuff. I had a lot going on in my house, with family and stuff. And then, like I said earlier, I didn't grow up in the best family, but I used games as an escape, and I ended up not doing the best first year of online. So I ended up failing it, but I turned it around the second time I did it, and I just did as best as I could, getting like all 90s. So that's a plus. But I graduated later than I still say I graduated 2018 because I was supposed to the year I graduated, but I don't know. I don't like I don't know. I just don't want to see. This is me. I don't like seeming inferior. That's a weird way to put it, but I don't like seeming like I can't do something or like I'm not up to par. 'Cause I don't know. That's kind of the same thing, but that's just me. I don't know. I don't know. But I don't know. So next podcast, wrap it up here. I guess we're almost dark anyways. There's some bland portion. Again, I want to say I'm raw dogging this, but YouTube don't come from my throat. It was a joke. That's why Freddie always gets so annoyed. I was like, bro, please stop saying that. I'm like, all right. So I want to do this a lot of my podcasts, if not all of them, unedited because I do like that about podcasts sometimes, or a lot of times is whenever it's just pure thoughts. It's yes, there is silence in between. Yes, it can get boring a bit, but I do like the moments of silence sometimes because it does mean that they are like trying to put thought into it and stuff. You know, it's not just, you know, you've seen podcasts that have been edited, which there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, yes, it is cleaner and it gets straight to the point. It's just, it's more unfaithful. That's not the right word. It's more, or it's less interesting to me, I guess, because it's not just you're just going in and doing it. You know, you're just going in with whatever's in your mind, because that shows me someone more than edits. Edits, you can like, all right, well, I don't want to talk about this today. Let's do it tomorrow. I'm gonna continue the podcast tomorrow. Instead, you're doing it in one sitting. You have these thoughts in your head that you don't care, like, really what you say. I mean, unless they're literal jail thoughts, then of course, like, you could be sent to jail. But usually, usually I love straight up raw videos, I guess, or raw edit or raw podcast, because you really get to see how a person thinks, or you get to understand. Again, like I said, deep talks. Like I said earlier, you get to understand a person's mind, um, which is why I've always loved like things like sociology and stuff. My favorite course. And psychology would have been fun if I ever took it, but I took sociology. I love sociology, getting to know how people work, getting to know why things are the way they are. So, yeah, it wraps it up. Every single week, I'll try to do a podcast. I'll have to think of different topics of what we're gonna do. There mainly will be horror. I might have here and there of random, but they're probably gonna be horror. More than likely, they're gonna have uh of random. To be honest, I go on tangents constantly, so which is why I have a hard time sometimes making YouTube videos, because I'll go from like reviewing one thing to now being on a tangent, so I have to edit a lot. But also, it kind of sucks. Like, yeah, and I'm using my Mac right now, but it sucks on having a dual monitor setup. One thing, and it's just not as effective using a Mac as it is with monitor, because Mac limits you so much. This is why I couldn't do the whole OBS thing with sound on Mac. I had to download a third-party program. Downloaded two, by the way, because the first one didn't work as well. The first one didn't work. The second one didn't work either. So that's why I don't have my friend here right now. But yeah, so I hope I can get my friends are helping me fix my PC. So it was super generous from me. And it is. I appreciate it. I owe them my life. But next week, I don't know. I'll come up with a podcast idea. It might be me again alone, but if I get my PC fixed by then it will be a friend on there. If not, there'll be. But yeah. Um. Yeah. I'll let you guys more. But yeah, until later. Really, I yawn. I've been the horror. Or Matt, and I'll see you guys in the next video or podcast. Probably, I don't want to say video. I don't want to promise you guys anything. I haven't really been in the mood to edit, especially since I'm editing on a Mac. But if I can get a video out, I will. However, if not, it'll be podcast right now. Okay, I promise I'll have a video out soon. I'm a YouTuber after all. I'll get a video out soon, promise. But I can't promise you it's gonna be within the week or 2 weeks. I'm trying to figure out my PC situation before I do anything. So, and then whenever I do come back, it'll probably be a podcast or a live stream, and then I'll just continue. But yeah, I'll see you guys. All right, or that's good talking, bro. I sound like a guy, like, you know, at a restaurant, like, oh, enjoy your meal too. To your waiter, like, oh my god, that's so embarrassing. Okay, anyways, yeah, I'll see you guys later. I've been the horror. Bye.